Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my studio. This is Paint with Lovejoy. Thanks so much for checking out my channel and thanks for painting at home. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and check out my other videos. If you're here for a second, third, or fourth time, thank you so much for coming back and thank you for painting at home. I'm glad you're finding the relaxing process of painting. In today's painting, this is perfect for my first time painters. If you've never picked up a brush, never mixed paint, this video is for you. And we will use an untraditional tool in this video. We're going to be using some Q-tips to make some of the details of the flowers. So it's kind of nice when you use a non-traditional tool, something that you use possibly on a regular basis, and you just use it in a new manner. So that's what kind of makes the creative process fun. So what you're going to see in this video is in the description box below, there is a link to a supply kit. And in that supply kit is everything that you need for this particular painting. So check out what you need, grab your supplies, and then pick up this video where you left off. With all my videos, if you are inclined to switch out colors, completely do a different background color or flower color, anything, please feel free to switch this up and make the painting your own and just kind of use the video as a guideline as you go through the process. When you're ready to kind of take your skills to the next level, and I want you to do that, check out my online school, paintwithlovejoy.com. And on my online school, you're going to find my most popular class, Paint Your Pet. And the Paint Your Pet is geared towards first-time and beginner painters, and it's geared really simple to break down the steps for you in an easy and approachable manner. And when you paint something that you love, you learn even more. And I've been teaching the Paint Your Pet class for probably 7 years now, and all my students are so impressed and surprised with what they create with the steps that I've laid out for them. So like I said, when you're ready for your next level, check out my online school and check out the Paint Your Pet courses. So I think that's enough talking for now. Let's go ahead and get started painting. All right, guys, it's going to be another fun painting. Gather all your supplies. Make sure you turn on your favorite music. And as always, make sure you take your progress photos. So today's painting, like I said, is going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to use an unexpected tool. So we're going to use a Q-tip, which hopefully it's something everybody has at home, but it is kind of nice just to create something that using an unexpected tool. So here I am using the large flat brush and making a really light lavender color, and that's the white with just a touch of purple. And we're going to kind of create an abstract background here, so have a lot of fun with it. Slap your brush on your canvas, try a few different brush strokes. If you want to finger paint, go right ahead. But we're going to create kind of an abstract background, then we'll let it dry, and then we'll put our dandelion and then word on top of there. And I believe I'll be writing the word wish. You are more than welcome to change the word to something important that you like. So again, just kind of filling in this space. Don't be afraid to just grab a big chunk of the white or the light colors and just slap it on there. And then we'll be taking some darker colors. Like right here, you can see I made a slightly darker purple. And if we work with this while it's wet, it's nice to just kind of blend back and forth. And as you can see where I'm using, kind of the full width of the canvas for my brush strokes, don't be afraid to do that on yours. Make it a whole arm movement so you don't get kind of stuck in just painting one little section. So it's kind of freeing, and it makes you paint a little bit faster. So like you can see here, we kind of put our base of two different shades of purple, and it was just from the way that the paint got mixed. Now we're going to start taking a darker color right here, slapping the purple on there, and then wipe your brush off. And then go back to where you placed that color, and then with light pressure, you're going to blend it into that base color. And this is called wet on wet blending. And you can see I am just keeping that light pressure. If you have a little more pressure on yours, totally okay. Now I'm grabbing the blue, doing the same thing, and it's going to blend in with this purple and kind of create a new color. So play with it. And kind of just play with the background as you are enjoying the colors and the blending. And when you feel pretty happy and satisfied with your abstract background, then I'd recommend Just moving on to the next step of the dandelion after you let it dry. Here I added some red, and again, kind of fun to see how that red blends with the purple compared to blending with the blue or the light lavender. And again, just a nice way to play with the painting, being abstract and getting a little more comfortable with the wet on wet blending. And again, if you feel like finger painting, just because you feel like you can get in a little bit more and blend, give it a try. It is acrylic water-based paint, so it does wipe off and wash off with soap and water nicely. And if you're one of my first-time painters, take a deep breath, relax. You're doing great. I'm really proud of you for painting at home. All right, pause the video, take your progress photo, and I do recommend that you allow your background to fully dry before you move into the next step. So I am using that medium flat brush and a mixture of green and yellow, and this is going to be the base of our dandelion. So I put a little dot where I wanted the dandelion to end, and then trying to keep it as straight as possible. Just kind of pulling that down towards the bottom of the canvas. And if you need to go over it a few times to get a good coverage, go right ahead and do that. And if you happen to have a bit of a curve in yours, that is totally okay. Plants grow towards the sun, so they grow in so many different shapes and directions. So now I'm actually grabbing that dark green or that straight green, and on the left-hand side of this stalk, adding that green, and this is going to be the shadow side. And then we will add some yellow to the opposite side. And if you're like me and your stalk just grew a little bit, got a little bit wider, embrace it. You just now have a healthy dandelion that you're going to be painting. So here we go, wiping that brush off, grabbing the yellow and putting it on the opposite side. And this gives the indication that we do have the light source coming from the right-hand side. So basically I'm just kind of placing it on there, and then I'll wipe the brush off, and then with light pressure I'm going to blend that into that base green color. Again, just keeping that light pressure. This does get more comfortable with more practice. So be kind to yourself if this is your first time trying this type of blending. All right, so now we're going to put the center of the dandelion on there. And we're going to use a little bit of white with a touch of yellow, and we're going to put kind of an ellipse or an oval at the base, at the end of the stem for our dandelion. And then we'll be putting some of our structural elements around this circle. So again, it's that white with the yellow, and we're going to be putting this kind of long, kind of flattened circle, flattened ellipse right above, and it's not quite touching the base of that stem. We're going to have some of our center elements of our dandelion overlap that area. So again, you're just doing kind of like a floating halo or an ellipse right above your stem. And then we're going to clean the brush really good. We're going to use raw sienna, some light brown, and we're going to kind of put that base structure of all where our little dandelions will be kind of radiating from and floating off. So I am using that small flat brush, and I'm using the brush kind of perpendicular and using it sideways and making these little dash marks. And as I'm making the dash marks, it's kind of going around this ellipse, so each brush stroke is kind of radiating out from this center ellipse. So feel free to adjust your brush strokes as you go towards the top, get towards the left hand curve, and then even as you start moving them towards the bottom. And again, they're just little dash marks moving in the direction that they're kind of radiating out from the center. And again, if you're holding your breath, take a big inhale. If you do find that you're shaky as your brush is touching the canvas, if you exhale as you touch the brush to the canvas, it makes you less shaky and a little bit easier. All right, so now I'm actually going to grab the small pointy brush and purple paint. I'm actually doing this without any black paint. And on the right-hand side of each one of those little dash marks, just doing another smaller line. And again, this is just giving a little bit of depth. And as you're working with the pointy brush, if you treat it like a pencil, just use the tip of it and keep light pressure. You can keep some smaller lines. Again. All right, so pause the video, take your progress photo, and we're going to move into the Q-tips and the little dandelion seeds on here. So we'll be using a Q-tip, and you can see that I taped them together. Give that a try. If you don't want to tape them, you can actually just hold them together with your fingers. And we're going to be making little dots like that. So you can see where I'm kind of holding it perpendicular and just kind of tapping the canvas. And I am being very generous with the amount of paint that's on there. And we're going to kind of start on the perimeter. And again, when my hand moves, you'll be able to see what it is. There we go. And we're kind of getting the perimeter of the ball of the dandelion. So start with just kind of a little bit of an arc, and we're just basically tapping the canvas, creating a circle or an arc around the center of our dandelion. And as I'm tapping, I'm actually moving the position of the Q-tips, so that way I'm not making the exact same mark every time I touch the canvas. So I am twirling it, or I'm rotating my wrist just a little bit. And you will notice that with thicker paint, it's a bit more opaque coverage. You may have some areas before you reload the paint to where it's a little more transparent and you can kind of see through it. This is actually to your benefit, and it creates a little bit of that depth and that illusion. So kind of play with that. And here you can see I didn't do a full circle, so it's kind of like a C shape for the perimeter. And it's as if the wind is blowing some of these little seeds off into the air. So you can see where they're just kind of scattered, and again, just that tapping method. It does not have to be every individual little seed or floaty thing to draw. We're just kind of creating an illusion, and our brain's filling in the details. Now, as you're doing this, I do want you to get out of your chair, look at your painting from a distance of 5 to 10 feet away, and as you're looking at it from that distance, do you go, do I need more color here? Do I need more little dandelion seeds here? And trust that. So look at it from a distance, assess what you might need to adjust, and then go back and add that to your canvas. When we look at it from this distance, this is the normal viewing distance for most artwork and most things in life. So get in that habit while you paint to view that distance so you can reassess and adjust while you are painting. And with that being said, painting is never about being perfect, but just learning to see the world from a new perspective and to create something that maybe you didn't create before. So be kind to yourself as you are learning all these new skills. I'm really proud of you. All right, you can see as you go over it, it does get a little more opaque with a couple more layers of paint, so feel free to add to what you like. And if you even want to do this with multiple colors, like some light pinks or light purples, feel free to adjust and change. All right, so when you are ready for your word, I am using that with a brush, and I'm going to write the word wish on here. So I do recommend with the brush that you practice your word on a scrap sheet of paper and then move to your canvas. And just treat it just the way that you would a pencil or a pen, and just play with it. It can be blocky, it can be cursive. If you totally want to skip the paint, you can let everything dry and you can use a Sharpie marker or a paint marker. Feel free to get creative and adjust. It is good practice to do it with the brush, but again, your call what type of tools you want to use for your creative efforts. And you can change the word to anything that you want. I've actually taught this particular painting as a fundraiser for many, many years, and it was really popular, and I loved all the words that people would add. Hope, love, joy. I think some people even put their names in it. Some people put their kids' names. But again, make this your own and make it unique. All right, and if you need to, go back over just to get a bit more opaque coverage. It's good practice. So now I'm going to do what we call a drop shadow. And I'm going to use that pointy brush and kind of imagining that our sun again is coming from that top left-hand corner. So on the bottom right-hand corner, the bottom and the bottom right is where our drop shadow would be. And if you think about it, I guess kind of like the face of a clock, the drop shadows from, let's see, from about 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Go in that bottom right-hand side of the clock, if that helps for your visual. If not, just kind of look and see where I am placing them. It's not a full outline. It is just in a few specific areas. And even if they're in a slightly different spot or the wrong spot, it's still going to give an illusion that we've got some depth here. So don't freak out. Again, if you want to practice this on your scrap sheet of paper, you can play with the drop shadow in a couple of different positions. And just observe the way it looks differently with those different positions. This is part of your learning of your creative efforts right now. And there's always things to learn. All right, but you're doing a great job. I'm really proud of you for taking the step and painting at home. So please find a creative outlet on a regular basis and find your stress relieving avenues in this world. So I'm really grateful you're hung out with me for a little bit. Thanks for painting with me. I do look forward to painting with you in the future. So have a great day. Cheers. Actually going through the videos and painting at home really gives me tons of motivation to keep making these videos. So please let me know how you're doing. With that being said, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, things you want me to paint in the future, leave a comment in the box below, and I try to answer and reply to all comments and questions usually twice a day, so I can try to get to everybody. So don't be shy on your feedback and what you want me to paint in the future. Again, I'm so proud of you for taking time out of your day to paint with me. I'm really glad you're enjoying the painting process, and I look forward to painting with you in the future. Cheers.